The sun was setting over the small quaint town of Maplewood, a place where the streets were lined with charming Victorian homes, each one telling a story of families who had lived there for generations. The golden rays of light filtered through the branches of the pear trees that adorned the neighborhood, casting playful shadows on the sidewalk below. It was a peaceful evening, with soft laughter, and the sounds of children playing in the distance, harmonizing perfectly with the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze. In a modest two-story house decorated with flower boxes spilling over with bright petunias, Daniel Miller was engaged in a battle of sorts. The living room was a whirlwind of construction paper, crayons, and half-built Lego towers, as his 7-year-old twins, Lily and Ben, competed for their father's undivided attention. Daniel, a devoted single dad, had always tried his best to create a nurturing environment for his children after his wife had passed away 2 years prior. The ache of loss was still fresh, but his resolve to raise his children with love and laughter was stronger. "Dad, look! I made a rocket!" Lily exclaimed, her voice bubbling with excitement as she brandished a crayon-covered paper cutout resembling a flying rocket ship. "Whoa, that's amazing! It's going to reach the moon." Daniel nodded appreciatively, tousling his daughter's hair affectionately. Ben, not willing to be outdone, leaned forward, holding his own colorful creation. "Yeah, but mine can carry 3 astronauts. It can go farther than the moon." Daniel chuckled. "A very ambitious mission. I suppose I should prepare for an interstellar adventure in my backyard with both rockets." The twins laughed, their sweet giggles filling the room, and Daniel felt a swell of warmth in his chest. Even through the cracks of grief, he could find moments of joy. Life, though sometimes harsh, could also be beautifully unexpected. Once the rockets were safely set aside, Daniel glanced at his watch, realizing he had promised to give the neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, a hand in fixing her garden that evening. He gathered the children to explain, "All right, my little astronauts, I have to help Mrs. Thompson with her flowers. You both can stay here and finish your projects while I'm gone. Promise to keep the house standing while I'm away? Only if you bring us cookies." Ben piped in mischievously. "Deal." Daniel grinned, making his way to the door, where he grabbed his gardening gloves and a trowel. As he stepped outside, the sweet scent of blooming lilacs enveloped him, and he waved at a couple passing by, familiar faces among the community that made Maplewood feel like home. Daniel walked down the block, nodding at neighbors he knew, and exchanging pleasantries. The sun dipping lower, painting the sky with swirls of pink and orange. Mrs. Thompson's garden was a riot of colors. The geraniums danced in the breeze, and the sunflowers stood tall and proud, capturing the last rays of sun before night descended. As they worked together, Daniel listened intently as she shared tales of her own children. How they had left for college, marking their own adventures while she remained in the home they had grown up in. "Sometimes it feels so quiet here," she said softly, gazing out at her garden. "But I have my flowers to keep me company." Daniel wanted to encourage her, to remind her of the beauty of the world around her. "You know, Mrs. Thompson, every bloom is a little reminder that life can be full of joy, even in silence," he said with sincerity. That evening had been ordinary, filled with the kind of warmth that only comes from shared moments and community. However, the tranquility of the night was soon disrupted by an unexpected turn of events in the following weeks. Not long after, Daniel found himself outside his local gas station on a chilly Saturday morning, his car in need of fuel before heading out for a weekend road trip with the twins. They had been planning on visiting the nearby lake, a treasured spot where they spent many weekends together before his wife's passing. After uncapping the gas tank, Daniel turned his head to see a woman in her 30s struggling to fill her own tank. The car was an old sedan that looked like it had seen better days, and she was rummaging through her purse, biting her lip as she assessed her funds. "Need a hand?" Daniel called out, sensing her hesitation. The woman looked up, her brow furrowed in frustration. "I'm not sure I have enough. I just need a few more dollars to fill up," she admitted, embarrassment evident in her voice. "No worries, I've got you." Daniel approached, pulling out his wallet without hesitation. As he handed her a few crumpled bills, a smile broke across her face, revealing a warmth that lit up her features. "It's just a few bucks. You've got a family too, right? I understand how tight things can get." Her eyes sparkled with gratitude. "Oh my gosh, thank you. My name is Hannah. I've been trying to get to my sister's place for the week and I didn't anticipate how much gas would cost today. Daniel. Corna. Nice to meet you, Hannah. Keep a few bucks for a snack on the road too, he added with a grin, accepting the smile she aimed in his direction as currency enough. I appreciate it so much, truly. You're an angel in disguise. Hannah laughed, and Daniel felt warmth spread in his chest. Conversation flowed easily between them as they exchanged stories about life in Maplewood, all the mundane and beautiful little moments they experienced. Hannah shared her journey away from home, highlighting how she was moving back to Maplewood to stay with her sister after some difficult times of her own. In return, Daniel explained his determination as a single dad raising his twins, revealing how he often worried about balancing work and being present for Lily and Ben. When Daniel finally excused himself to head back to his car, he felt a sense of connection blossoming in a most unexpected way. Beneath the surface of a casual interaction, something profound had formed, compassion and camaraderie between two strangers navigating their own storms. They exchanged numbers before parting ways, Daniel hoping to meet again. A small gesture among many, yet one that felt significant in the fabric of their lives. The weeks rolled by, unfolding like pages of a cherished book. Little did Daniel know, there would come a day when the threads of their lives would weave in even closer than he could have ever imagined. A day when Hannah would suddenly reappear at his doorstep, holding a piece of news that would change everything. But that day was yet to unfold, and for now, there were cookies to bake, rockets to launch, and shared laughter that would echo through the halls of their homes, igniting new connections in the warm heart of Maplewood. Days turned into weeks, and as summer unfurled its arms around Maplewood, Daniel found himself accustomed to the gentle rhythm of life with his twins. A dance of school runs and soccer practices, laughter echoing through the house, and the unmistakable warmth of belonging. The children grew more spirited and curious each day, with Lily meticulously sketching intricate designs inspired by her beloved books, while Ben transformed their backyard into a makeshift science lab, fueled by an insatiable curiosity and an endless supply of Lego bricks. However, ever since Daniel's chance encounter with Hannah at the gas station, something had sparked within him, a glimmer of hope and possibility that he hadn't felt in a long time. They had texted back and forth occasionally, shared silly anecdotes about parenting dilemmas, and sometimes even sent each other pictures of their kids' latest creations. It felt as though they were slowly building a bridge made of shared experiences that might lead them to something supportive and warm, even if it remained undefined. One sunny Saturday afternoon, Benjamin and Lily were busy crafting a kite for the annual Maplewood Festival, which allowed families to gather and showcase their various talents. Daniel had promised his kids he would help them fly the kite. As he sat sprawled on the living room floor with a pair of scissors and some string, a sudden text from Hannah chimed in, bringing a smile to his face. "Hey Daniel. I was wondering if you and the twins would like to join us for the festival this weekend. My sister and her kids are coming over, and I'd love for you to meet them. We can set up a picnic together too." He hesitated, glancing over at Lily and Ben, battling over whose turn it was to hold the roll of bright blue paper. The prospect of stepping into a more significant social gathering brought a mix of excitement and trepidation. But the thought of the warmth and laughter of families gathered together beckoned him on. "Sounds great. We're in," he replied, feeling a wave of gratitude for the place that had slowly become a part of him. As the day of the festival approached, anticipation filled the air. The event was the perfect blend of community spirit, showcasing everything from local crafts to children's games. The smell of barbecued meat wafted through the atmosphere, mingling with laughter and music that flowed from makeshift stages. When Daniel and the twins arrived, they found Hannah immediately, along with her sister, Lily, and Lily's kids, Max and Sophie, who were all beaming with sunny excitement. The two sets of children fell into instant camaraderie, bounding toward each other as if they had known one another for ages. "Look what we made," Ben shouted, pulling the kite from its bag with exuberance. "Can we help?" Max exclaimed, his eyes wide with enthusiasm, as Sophie chimed in with her own agreement. "Of course. You can all help hold the strings while Dad runs," Lily said with an infectious giggle. The adults settled down on a checkered picnic blanket, preparing sandwiches and sharing stories, while the kids dashed toward the open field, the colors of their kites popping against the vibrant backdrop of the sky. It was an idyllic scene, a heartwarming tapestry woven from laughter and joy. As Daniel watched his children run and play, Hannah turned toward him, her expression thoughtful. "You know, it's really nice to see them all getting along. Kids have this beautiful ability to connect without reservation." Daniel nodded, feeling a warm flutter in his chest. "They really do. It surprises me every time how quickly friendships can form. It makes me hope they'll always carry that openness with them." They shared a moment of comfortable silence, the sounds of joy melting into the background before Hannah ventured further. "And what about you, Daniel? Have you thought about what your life looks like now? With everything that's happened." Daniel hesitated for a moment, the weight of her words lingering in the air. He had long ago learned the art of bravely wearing a smile while harboring fears in the quiet corners of his heart. "I guess in some ways I'm still trying to figure that out. Every day feels like a balancing act," he replied. "But seeing the kids enjoy life makes me realize I need to embrace joy again, to find some purpose beyond just surviving." Hannah's expression softened as she listened intently, her gaze unyielding. "I understand," she said quietly. "I have my struggles too. Moving back home wasn't what I expected, but I'm learning to find strength in vulnerability. Sometimes it's those connections that keep us anchored." The conversation felt intimate, like a doorway opening into possibilities of understanding. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a golden hue over everything, Daniel felt their connection deepening, the invisible threads weaving themselves more tightly. Later that evening, they watched as the children tirelessly tried to launch the kite into the sky, its bright colors dancing against the colorful tapestry of the sunset. In that moment, when the kite finally caught the wind and soared high above, it felt as if their laughter and hearts intertwined. Momentary freedom, unencumbered by heaviness or loss. That night, as they packed up their picnic and waved goodbye, Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that perhaps this was the beginning of something beautiful, a sense of belonging that stretched beyond simple friendships. He felt that flicker of possibility, a chance at companionship that would fortify both him and Hannah, just like the bonds woven amongst the laughter of their children. As the days turned into weeks again, the rhythms of their lives intertwined more deeply. Daniel and Hannah exchanged more messages, met for coffee when schedules allowed, and shared their worlds. The boundaries of their friendship began to blur, with Hannah often stopping by after work, bringing little treats for the kids or sharing stories about practical skills she had learned and wanted to pass on. The kids began referring to Hannah as their fun aunt, and with each visit, they created whimsical adventures, from impromptu dance parties in the living room to scavenger hunts in the local park. Daniel watched in sheer joy as Hannah flourished in their presence, her laughter echoing, her eyes sparkling with the light of renewed purpose. One evening, during one of their increasingly frequent gatherings, the atmosphere shifted slightly when Hannah's sister, Lily, proposed a community project. "We should create a neighborhood garden to bring everyone together. We could include a little area for kids too. It could be a family retreat of sorts." The idea ignited quick enthusiasm, but it also stirred something deeper within Daniel. For years, he had built walls around his heart, believing that keeping distance was a protection mechanism. But the reality of community, of connection, started to reframe his mindset. The thought of collaborating on something meaningful with Hannah and their children felt transformative. As discussions unfolded and plans materialized, Daniel's ideas poured forth. They moved beyond just planting flowers to envisioning a place where children could play, parents could gather, and laughter would intertwine with the scent of blooming plants. They decided to involve neighbors, reaching out to both old friends and new faces. Each family would contribute something, flowers, seeds, and even labor to create shared joy. The project took root, blossoming into a vibrant community effort that combined various talents, bringing together threading lives in the process. The excitement of creating something tangible gave Daniel a sense of purpose, bridging the gap between his past sorrows and present joys, opening doors to what could be. However, amidst all this blossoming hope and connection, Daniel sensed something was brewing beneath the surface. He couldn't deny that the bond he had developed with Hannah was beginning to tread a delicate line between friendship and something deeper. And while he relished the warmth and companionship, he also felt a sliver of fear that the past grief might threaten their blossoming connection. As the sun turned golden in the sky, casting long shadows and coaxing the stars awake, the anticipation of completion loomed as the project neared its fruition. Daniel stood at the edge of what felt like a turning point, hoping to embrace this new bond with Hannah with open arms, yet hesitating on the precipice, unsure of how to breach the topic that danced at the fringes of his heart. But for now, they had a garden to finish, children to nurture, and laughter that echoed like sweet music on a warm summer's evening, a gentle crescendo leading toward something momentous. And as they eagerly anticipated the garden's opening day, a celebration of newfound connections, a shared sense of purpose, and a community united in hope, Daniel stood determined to embrace both his fears and the love he felt blossoming around him. The stakes were rising, and the promise of what lay ahead filled him with both hope and apprehension. He could sense a change was coming, one that might forever alter the course of their lives. As the community gathered to complete their long-awaited garden, the air buzzed with excitement, laughter, and a shared sense of purpose. The morning sun shone bright, draping a warm glow over the expanse of land that had once been an empty lot, now transformed into a canvas of vibrant blossoms and colorful art made by children's hands. Daniel stood amidst a flurry of activity, watching as neighbors helped one another dig, plant, paint, and arrange. The effort had pulled everyone together, forging new friendships based on the heartwarming foundation of shared labor and common dreams. "Look, Dad," Lily shouted, tugging on his sleeve as she showcased her newly painted flower pot, splashed with bold colors. "I'll put this in the kids' corner. We need it to be super pretty." "That's beautiful, sweetheart," Daniel said, undeterred by his instinctual worry about how to navigate the budding relationship with Hannah. "It's going to be the best flower pot in the whole garden." Ben, who was attempting to balance a stack of dirt-filled cups meant for planting, came tumbling toward them with a mixture of enthusiasm and chaos. "I'll help too. We should plant rainbow flowers, or else the garden will be boring." "Rainbow flowers it is," replied Daniel, ruffling Ben's hair with warm affection before wading back into the organized chaos. Amid the flurry of shovels, balloons, and more laughter than he could count, Daniel caught sight of Hannah standing a few paces away, directing a group of children as they arranged colorful stepping stones inside the little path they had mapped out. She looked radiant, the golden sun highlighting her fiery hair, a vision of strength and compassion that made his heart swell. Since that first day at the gas station, Hannah had become a piece of his daily rhythm, a source of laughter and warmth for both him and the twins. "You doing all right?" Daniel asked, coming alongside her as she liberated a rock from the ground with delicate precision. "Better than all right. I can't believe how much we've all come together," Hannah said, her eyes bright with enthusiasm as she surveyed the gathering. "This means so much, you know? It's a treasure trove of love and community." Daniel smiled, feeling a sense of kinship swell between them. "Yeah. It's incredible to see everyone's efforts come together like this. It really feels like we're building something genuine." "Exactly. And to see the kids so invested, it reminds me of how important these connections can be," Hannah replied, a gentle smile gracing her lips. "They're going to remember this." The sun continued its slow journey across the sky as the community members dug deeper, planting flowers, arranging benches, and hanging colorful wind chimes. Daniel followed up with his neighborhood friends, delivering cold drinks to keep everyone hydrated, while ensuring the kids had fun in the nearby play area crafted for them, filled with games they had brought from home. When the first blooms broke free and burst forth like confetti, a cheer erupted. "Look! The flowers are growing," Max exclaimed, bouncing in delight with Lily and Sophie beside him. "Let's take care of them, just like superheroes," Ben shouted, arms wide as though he were ready to take on the world. "Heroic gardeners," Hannah laughed. "Every flower needs tending. They'll remind us to nurture each other too." As laughter resonated through the air, the community's collective warmth wrapped around Daniel like a cozy blanket. Yet, amidst their shared joy blossoming in splendid colors, he felt a pressure building within him, an uncertain desire to invite Hannah deeper into his life. Days turned into afternoons spent working together, and small moments of their shared lives filled Daniel's mind. Whether it was late-night discussions about their dreams or working together to balance laughter amidst struggles, each passing moment brought them closer. They exchanged stories of heartache and hope, and with every shared gaze laden with understanding, the bond deepened. As the grand opening of the newly formed garden approached, anticipation bubbled in the air. The day was set to be a neighborhood celebration, a chance to unveil their hard work, showcase their efforts, and strengthen bonds further. The festival promised laughter, delicious food, and a gathering of families, all excited to bask in the fruits of their labors. "Will you speak with me during the opening?" Daniel asked Hannah one evening as they prepped for the event. Daniel stood at the door as the twins chased after the resident dog, Max, who was panting in the summer heat. "I want them to hear about our journey. I would love that. It's important to acknowledge what we built together." Hannah clasped her hands together, her eyes gleaming. That fateful day arrived, draped in blue skies and sunshine, and as attendees filtered in, Daniel felt a rush of adrenaline as they collectively prepared for the unveiling. Excitement radiated through the crowd, with families and kids alike buzzing with energy. The garden filled with vibrant art, whimsical decorations, and signs brought smiles of pride to everyone involved. When it was time for Daniel and Hannah to take the stage, the air crackled with anticipation. He squeezed Hannah's hand for reassurance, the act grounding him amidst the whirlwind of emotions swirling inside. "Welcome, everyone." Daniel's voice rang out, filled with warmth as he stood behind the microphone. "Thank you for coming to celebrate our community garden, a labor of love from each and every one of you. When we came together, this project became so much more than just digging in the dirt. It became a way for us to connect, heal, and nurture one another." He paused, letting the significance of the moment sink in, and he glanced at Hannah, who nodded encouragingly. Sometimes we forget that even the simplest acts of kindness can blossom into something beautiful. It's not the extravagant events or gestures that shape our lives, but rather the cherished everyday moments that weave together into the tapestry of community. As he spoke, Daniel felt a warmth surge within him, words unspooling like strands of silk, delicate yet powerful. "Watching our kids play and explore has reminded me of the importance of love, laughter, and connection. We built this garden to grow something. Flowers, yes, but also friendships, memories, and a shared understanding of what it means to belong." His heart raced as he stepped aside to allow Hannah to shine. "This couldn't have happened without the tireless efforts of our community members, the kids who remind us to play and approach life with wonder. And this journey reminds us to care deeper, love harder, and support one another through thick and thin." Her voice flowed like honey, lilting and inspiring. "As we navigate our lives, it's vital we tend to each other's hearts as we cultivate this garden. This garden stands as a symbol, a place where every single act of kindness adds beauty and life. Together we can flourish and find hope even in hard times." As she spoke, Daniel's gaze drifted across the crowd, neighbors nodding in agreement, eyes glistening with understanding, children clapping, echoing the joy and enthusiasm radiating from their parents. This was it. This was the moment brimming with possibility. "Let's officially open our garden," he declared, unable to suppress the beaming smile on his face as they stepped away from the microphone, hands entwined, a united front fueled by friendship and a promise of growth. They cut the ribbon ceremoniously, releasing a flurry of balloons into the blue sky overhead, a signal that carried with it all their hopes and dreams. As the balloons ascended, the joy in the air morphed into a collective spirit of gratitude, hope, and commitment to nurturing one another. The garden bore witness to lost loves, but also to rekindled dreams, joy, and newfound hope. The celebration unfolded beautifully, a medley of laughter, music, children running, families connecting in deeper ways. Daniel watched as little hands planted sunflowers, and children climbed trees to reach for flying kites, the very same ones they had crafted just weeks before. As twilight took over the day, a soft golden light folded around them. Henry, Lily, Ben, and the other children lounged near the blooming hedges, sharing stories amid the delightful backdrop of soft chimes dancing in the breeze. As light began to dim, Daniel noticed Lily and Ben sitting beside Hannah as she pointed skyward, her voice drifting up toward the stars. "Look up at the stars, just like the journey we've taken," she whispered, her eyes sparkling. "Each of these lights holds a story, just like us. Together, we shine brighter." They sat beneath the heavens, enveloped in the glow of their garden, their community, a testament to the power of kindness, love, and healing. That shared connection, steadfast through hardships, bore fruit in childlike laughter, and the warmth of camaraderie reminded him that belonging was within reach. In those moments of laughter and connection, surrounded by colorful blooms and the scent of warm earth, Daniel understood something profound. The garden they had planted was not merely filled with flowers, but rather with resilience and hope. And in the heart of that blooming garden, as children chased fireflies and parents shared stories, he found his own heart healing amongst the renewed bonds, the laughter echoing in the night, In Hannah's presence, he felt the barriers built around his heart beginning to crumble, and in their shared laughter, he recognized not only the joy of community, but also the quiet, subtle invitation to cherish a second chance at love. As the last light flickered and the stars began to twinkle, Daniel reached out, taking Hannah's hand again, letting the warmth of her palm sink into his, holding tightly like the promise of the future, of something greater still to come. And as crickets serenaded the garden, Daniel took a deep breath and spoke softly. "Thank you for being a part of this journey. Together, we can cultivate something beautiful." In that moment, hand in hand, they became another story in the tapestry of Maplewood, a reminder that even in the face of life's challenges, love and connection can take root and bloom, filling the world with color, joy, and hope. And as the warmth of the night enveloped them, it felt like the start of a new chapter laid upon the pages of their intertwined lives.